The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza's and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Our feel good topic of the day is What's Your Jam? A deep dive into jungle music, where Jacky and I will be exploring what jungle music is. Our feel good vibe of the day is Joke Time with Jacky. So if you want a laugh to get your morning started, stick around for that later on. Before we get into that, we want to remind you to share this episode online. Take a minute, share it or retweet it. If you're watching on YouTube, copy the link and send it over to the WhatsApp group chat that you're probably in. Send it to all of them, because that's what we do in WhatsApp group chats. We just share links, right? And this one, at least they should be able to click it because it's a good link. Now that you've done all of that, let's get this episode started with our feel good warm up. Now, in case you missed it, you were living under a rock like Jacky and I. The Emmys were on Sunday. And out of all of the winners, 9 of them, I counted, according to Essence, there were 9 of them that were Black creatives, including Michaela Coel, who actually rejected a $1 million deal from Netflix because they wanted to offer her only 0.5% ownership in her series, which she created. So this is something she created from scratch. They reached out to her for a deal, and they said, you know what, this is what we're going to give you. So for our feel good warm up, we have this question for you. I'm actually typing it right now because I forgot to do this morning. But there's that. How important is ownership in 2021 for the Black community? We have seen this come up a lot in conversations online. Jacky and I have spoken about, creators protecting their content, and we've seen a lot of changes in the space. So what are your thoughts on it? How important is it for us to own our own content, our own brands that can promote things, our own award shows, etc.? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. It looks like we have Sean Smith. Good morning to you, Sean, and good morning to Kathy Rogers. Jacky, you and I are creatives. Yes. How important is it to earn things in our space? Like, we saw the Emmys was whitewashed, as people like to say. So how important is it for us to earn our own things?
Like the Grammys.
The Grammys, yes.
It's very important. That's how you keep it authentic. You have to, the more hands that come into the creative process, the less control you have, if that makes sense. So the more investors you have, so it's like starting off a company. In the beginning, it's everything you want it to be. And then the bigger you get, the more investors you have, the more shares you sell off. And then you start to lose control of the direction of your company, or say your art or your movie or production. It starts to change because it's no longer just you that's in control. So if anything, if you want to sell off anything, always keep majority shares. That way you have the last say. You have to gavel at all times. So though you have their money, you still at the end of the day, but you also need to make sure that on that board, you have people that will have your back. We've all seen Tyler Perry's movie. I just lost it as I was getting ready to talk about it.
Tyler Perry's movie. Keep talking about it. Maybe we'll find it. Maybe someone will remember.
It has Sanaa Lathan in it.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but I know you're talking about.
Go ahead. And Robin Givens is in it. And at the end of the day, the grandma still has the power. She puts her son, well, the mom still has her power. She puts her son in place. Her best friend is the one that actually has all the shares, and she was the silent investor that was buying all the shares. So at the end of the day, you want to try and make sure that the people that are involved are going and interested to carry that legacy forward and go in the same direction as you. Because in this case, 0.5%.
And it's interesting because it started off at 2%.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah. And so I think that was the interesting part about the article that I read, that, you know, so they approached her with this deal. So they obviously value her content, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have even reached out to her, right? Because only so many creatives on Netflix get reached out to, I would imagine. So, you know, they reached out to her. Oh, what's the name of the movie?
The Family That Prays. Not to cut you off, but if I made it, I was going to forget again. The Family That Prays. That's what it was.
Oh, yes. I remember that movie. So going back to Michaela and the Emmys. So, right, they approached her. Netflix approached her with this deal, $1 million deal, you know, in the conversation. She's trying to get more ownership, right? Because it's her content. So at the very least, she should be able to still own the rights to, you know, the royalties, anything else that comes after the fact. So start off at 2%, then they bumped it down to like 1.5, then it went down to 1, and then it was like 0.5. And I was like, at that point, you're just disrespecting me, because you didn't even go up. You went down. So that means to tell me that you're still trying to get more money out of this pie, and you're trying to leave me, the creator, out of it. And it was wild to see that it went down that fast.
So they came back to her 3 times, and you're telling me that.
Well, it was in a conversation. So it was in the conversation.
No, I'm saying, but sorry, you gave me 3 options, and it went down before it went back up. That means that you know exactly what this is worth. You know that this is good, because 1, you came to me, and 2, you went down, and then you went past the original quote. Okay.
You didn't go up there. You never went up. In the article, they never went up there and came down. Like, well, I mean, you can't go up there and come down. That's rude. But it just never went up. Good morning, Karen Simmons. As you're joining us, let us know how important ownership is in 2021 for the Black community. We have a comment from Kathy Rogers. She says, extremely important, especially for future generations, as far as ownership, growth, etc. I actually wanted to bring in this thought because, you know, you've seen a lot of commentary around the Emmys, the Grammys, how they're whitewashed, how Black creatives don't have the same opportunities or don't get the same recognition as their counterparts. And what was interesting, well, what I think about is like, so where's the Black Emmys? Where's the Black Grammys? Where's the Black Oscars? Because if you take out all of the Black creatives from a lot of these shows, they're not as great as they portray themselves to be, and their shows become boring. Just saying.
I said this like how many episodes ago? We are so entertaining. We have no choice but to find the humor in everything. It's our coping mechanism. So at the end of the day, we have learned to be everything.
Everything to everyone but ourselves.
Yeah. So no, we need to find a way to find our own space to celebrate ourselves. I know we had the BET Awards, but I know at one point that even became owned by.
It was always so the people forget that BET has always been owned by a white company, Viacom. However, Viacom is not a Black company. However, BET, like the owner of it, was the guy Johnson, who is Black. So that's what people focused on when BET first started, and then, you know, Viacom became a part of the conversation, and then like the heads, like, you know, the ones that you really answer to, became like was now Viacom, and so it switched. You could see the switch. You could see like after the 106 and Parks left, the show with Rachel, the top 20 countdown, like all of those shows, like doing the way Big Tigger show, like all of those shows went away, and then it became more of just a replay show. So you started to watch like The Game came on there, and a few other sitcoms came on there, which is nothing wrong with that because that was our content. It just shifted. Growing. And Viacom, I believe at the time, still owned MTV, or they were somehow connected. And you could see the transitions in both stations, like how it just went from being all about music to like trying to become these all-round television shows, which I think ultimately caused them to fail because like you can't be, like you said, we can't be everything to everyone. And I think that's what BET tried to do at some point. Like the BET Awards is still great. They had the little virtual awards last year, which was interesting. Did you catch the virtual BET Awards last year?
For like 5 seconds.
It was interesting, right? Because everybody was doing something virtual, and some people had really great like setups, and other people just had like really simple setups. And depending on what you were looking for from this virtual BET Awards, you may have been not impressed.
It was. I want to say that was one of the first times was it Chloe and Haley that they had performed in the yard.
It was on that tennis court, girl. Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay. That was like the only one I was able to like focus and enjoy. But other than that, it just seemed like a lot was happening. Yeah. But it was the first time for virtual everything, so it's just like.
I think they did the best they could given these circumstances and still were able to have the show. However, I definitely would like to see it grow, right? Because we are going to be doing a lot of hybrid events. You're going to have like, half virtual, half in person, or fully in person, or you'll have like a virtual experience after the fact or before the fact. So definitely for their first attempt, I think it was great. We have this comment from Anika DeShields, and then we'll go into our first commercial break of the show. Anika DeShields says, BET was purchased by a non-Black network. Yep, Viacom. They didn't understand the audience and the content. And I think that's what ultimately happened, which is why this conversation is so important, because
it always happens. They always think that they don't understand. They don't, but they think they do. They're just like, oh, they love this stuff. Oh, they love fried chicken. Throw some fried chicken at them. We're just like, we're more than fried chicken. We're more than angry Black women. We're more than the struggling Black dad. Like, there's so much more to us. Why do you just limit us to this? And that's how you lose us.
Yep, that's exactly how you lose. And it's coming from Kathy Rogers, all by design. And look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then Jackie and I will be back with our feel-good topic of the day. So you do not want to go anywhere.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, we are going to segue into our feel-good topic of the day, which is What's Your Jam? A deep dive into jungle music. But before we get into that, I saw a last-minute comment from Sean Smith come through on our feel-good warm-up that I wanted to bring into the conversation. Sean Smith says, Black ownership is very important because the hand that feeds you can also be the hand that kills you. Currently, the outside community, white and Jewish, control the majority of all aspects that feed the mind, soul, and body of the Black community. All communities in general, but yeah, specifically for our community, it's more of a struggle, right? Because they don't understand us, like Anika DeShields said, and unfortunately, we it's not like we don't have enough people with money. We have people with money. It's just for whatever reason, we just don't want to continue to build our BETs of the world and all of the other Black media companies and Black creatives. We don't want to create our own Netflix. We don't want to create our own HBO, but we will put our content on there. Not saying that these companies don't, give creators what they're worth. It would just be nice for us to be able to go to our own station and buy a subscription for that company. And
I think we want to do it. I just think that some people don't know how to do it. So it's easy at the end of the day while you're trying to figure it out to still put in their pockets. You go in, you do the music, you walk out, and it's produced.
Yeah.
You go in, you do
your system's already set up, so you can
exactly. So it's easier for you to just fall in line, get your money, and move along. Whereas we need to remember that we're trying to create generational wealth. We're trying to create generational content so that you can look back and be like, that my grandparents put that together. My grandparents built that house. But we lose interest, and then we lose the value of that stuff because every generation wants it to be easier. And that's not the case. Like somebody has to sacrifice for the greater good of our lineage or whatever term.
Our community, yes. The generations, the descendants, yes. We totally get you, Jack. Kathy Rogers says we don't invest in our own, and we definitely need a change of mindset. Absolutely agree.
But it starts at home.
It does.
Make sure you have those hard conversations with your children, with your parents, with your cousins, all those people that you're sitting off, drinking, smoking, and eating with. You gotta start having those conversations instead of just being surface. Oh, I don't like so and so, and let's have a shot. No, like, what are we cheersing to? Like, what are we changing? How are we making our community better? But that's keep it light.
Questions that they don't have the answers to sometimes. Questions they don't have the answers to. And so I want to bring this comment in from Sean Smith before we segue to our feel good topic of the day. We do have it. Don't worry, it's coming. The Latin community started their own once they did not see proper representation at the award shows. And that's really all we need to do. Like, it doesn't have to be this grand door type of thing. Like, we could start small and grow.
It absolutely can be. Do you know how many Black artists make these award shows? At the end of the day, they were waiting for Chloe, Hailey, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kanye West, and you could throw Kim in there because she wants so badly to be in there. And then you have Rihanna. Everybody was waiting for Rihanna to show up at the Met Gala. So if we have our own and we have our little fundraisers just like that, you can raise so much money to be able to put it back into our own community and build our own. You have all those buildings that are derelict in any of those states that you can just buy, like Tyler Perry did. He made his own studio. Like, he made his...
I drove across that often.
He legit made his own. So why can't we just easily follow suit and make our own? We have so many people that are powerful, that have the money, the billionaires.
That's why I say the money is not the question. The money isn't the issue. I think one thing that Michael Anthony Mustin said, there's a huge difference between the Black community and other communities. And I just think that I don't know if we don't see the vision or we just don't want to believe in the vision or what it is. We don't have the answers, but we're definitely here to have the conversation. And look, we're going to get into some jungle music. We're definitely going to keep it light. We're going to intertwine the jungle music in this conversation because jungle music is actually pretty interesting. I don't know if you know the story behind jungle music, how it got started and some of its inspiration, but a lot of its inspiration does come from music, none other than by Black people. So we do want to bring this comment. Sean Smith said he enjoyed watching the Soul Train Awards. How about that? Like, those were a vibe. They still are a vibe. Like, when you think about the Soul Train line, like, I feel like it still comes up at certain family events.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like one of those things that I don't care how young or how old you are, you have to do your dance on the Soul Train line. Like, that's it.
Oh my God, I want to have a Soul Train party where everybody dresses up and, like, the guys have to have the low cut, big color button ups. Yes, and then the bell bottoms. People be like, oh my God, I love the way they dress back in the day.
Bell bottoms were a vibe. But definitely Jack is bringing it back. I don't know when it's gonna happen because we're under like a 2 week curfew right now. We're trying to keep our numbers low, so that might come in 2022. But we'll let you know. We'll let you know when we're having the Soul Train party, so you can come and make your travel arrangements if you're not on the island of Bermuda. So switching gears.
Sorry.
Okay, so here she goes.
I'm sorry.
I ain't asked her to sing yet, but when I asked her, she wants to be all cheeky. This is how she acts sometimes.
I have outbursts.
I can't control her. I want to give thanks to our audience member, Mischa Fubler, who recommended jungle music a while back. I don't know if you remember, Jacky and I started talking about, our favorite genres of music, and we asked the audience to share theirs with us so that we could do some deep dives. And so today we want to talk about jungle music, and just so that you have a sense of what jungle music is, kind of get your mind around it if you've never heard it before. Let me ask this first question of the audience before I go ahead and explain to you what it is. Just let us know in the comments, have you listened to jungle music before and what jungle music is according to the internet, y'all. I'm not a jungle music expert, but I asked the internet what jungle music is, and it says it's a genre of dance music that developed out of the UK rave scene and sound system culture in the 1990s. Now, Jacky and I did go ahead and have a little listen to jungle music, and so we definitely have some opinions of it, but we just want to know in the comments, let us know, have you heard of jungle music? And I want to bring in some comments that came in while I was introducing jungle music. So it looks like Rashida Garvin is in here with us. Good morning to you, Rashida. And then speaking of Jacky's Soul Train, situation. Anika Shields says platform shoes.
That's so fun.
Coming back to the show every Saturday morning. Like, I think the best part of the show for me was the scramble, like the Scrabble board, people trying to figure out what's on the Scrabble board. I like that part. And then they were like, that's what something
yes.
Did they already know? And they were just like planning to take that long, or did they have no idea and they just
probably both sometimes.
I feel like it was a little bit of both. And then I want to get to this comment from Karen Simmons on our original conversation. She says, like crabs in a bucket, and we don't even know why, became the norm, unfortunately. And just one thing about crabs in a bucket, like crabs in a barrel, like the barrel isn't their natural environment. So how they act in the barrel makes sense. I know we use that term, that phrase to kind of describe our situation often, but like if you put the crab in the right environment, the crab will flourish and thrive. So we just need to put ourselves in the right environments so that we can flourish and thrive.
But it's not just the environment, it's the way of thinking, right? So if you're because it's natural for people to feel envious. So if you see your counterpart or your friend or somebody in your group that started at the bottom with you and they're growing, and you're just like, but what about me? Like, I helped you grow. Like, are you not going to put your hand back down to help me? Then naturally you're going to feel some type of way. But if you guys are building together and stepping up together and bringing each other up, you know how they say, go alone and you'll get there fast, but if you go together, you'll go further. We gotta remember that, and then you gotta remind each other, like, I helped you, you helped me. It's just a way of thinking. You just gotta change it. Like, Absolutely. Don't be envious of me. We're pushing me to the top, and then I'm gonna bring you back down. We're building my house first, and don't forget, your turn's next. So make sure I get there. Make sure we finish this house, and then we're going to move on to your house. And then after you finish your house, we're going to move on to Jeff's house. And after Jeff's house, so at the end of the day, we're all going to win. We're all going to have houses. We're all going to be at the top. But some people forget what the game plan is.
Absolutely. So Jackie clearly wants to talk about this show, and we will. Don't worry.
Sorry. Jungle music.
But back to jungle music, Jackie. What did you think of jungle music at first? Because I know, obviously, Mischa Fubler listened to it because he's the one that recommended it to us. So thanks, Mish. But Jack, what were your thoughts on jungle music?
So the link that you sent me, I think Mischa sent it as well. I listened to a young DJ, and at first I was like, oh, this is like house music. And I was just like, wait, this is black house music. Because it had like Lauryn Hill, like it had all these wicked black artists. And I went to YouTube and I was looking for some more. And it was a lot of old school stuff. So it had some reggae and dancehall artists that were mixed into it. And I was just like, oh, this is some wicked running music. Like, you could run to this and just run on beat. Because when I used to run to regular house music. But now I'm got like my genres that's being remixed. And it's wicked. It's almost like scratches. It's just like, I don't know how.
Of course, she was gonna give us a sound effect, y'all. You knew it. If this is the first time you've watched Good Day Bermuda, Jackie and I don't have any fancy like buttons to be pressing for the sound effects, so we make up our own sound effects, and I think it adds character to the show. So
it's like scratching.
And that was Jackie's that was her scratching attempt.
Yes.
And so Key Haynes says, nah, she doesn't think she's heard it. But it looks like Sean Smith has listened to jungle music. And he said it grew on him first. It had to grow on him first. So he didn't really listen to that first. I can say I actually listened to it today when I was running. And I was like, oh, I'm sold. This is my running playlist from time. And what I can say is the artist or the DJ, / producer that I listened to was like Hyper on Experience. And so I found this one song because there were 20 songs that we found that were like the top jungle music or the best jungle music to listen to. And they all like this genre started in like the 90s. And so everything that was listed was like in the early 90s. And so trying to find on Spotify was not as easy as one would think. And so I had to like go to YouTube, like Jackie mentioned. But then I found this guy, or girl, I don't know the gender is. I found Hyper on Experience on Spotify. And I just hit the one song and just let it. And I promise you the tempo is like, I think the internet said 150 to 160 BPM. So it's like, that's that good running music. And I absolutely enjoy it. But you mentioned that it sounds similar to like house and electronic music. So I want to ask the audience, are you a fan of house or electronic music? Why or why not? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And of course, Mischa, our resident jungle music DJ, is giving us some content in the comments. I want to bring them into the conversation. So he says, the drums are from the Amen Brothers, Amen Break. Most sampled drum pattern in hip hop. We definitely, I don't know. What's the Amen Brothers, Amen Break? I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure Misha's going to have to explain that a little bit further. He says house music is also Black. We create everything. If you didn't know it.
I'm not surprised.
I am not surprised either. So we have a question from Karen Simmons. She says, how did the name jungle music come about and how is it different from house music? So let's go to my resource because I definitely wanted to know, like, you know, where the name came from. And honestly, they didn't explain where the name came from, but they did say like where it kind of derived from, which is break beat hardcore. It's a type of genre of music that combines 4 on-the-floor rhythms with break beats, which are sampled from hip hop, like Mischa mentioned. So it does combine like vocal samples. Jacky mentioned this from reggae and dancehall, dub, as well as hip hop and funk. But I think the sound is a lot of beat, a lot of drums, and it says samples, which we talked about, and then synthesized effects, deep bass lines, which I think was really interesting when I was listening to it, because at first it sounded very electronic, very house-like, and then it like switched over. Mm-hmm. And I think the switch over is what sold me, because I'm like, yes, this is house music that I can vibe to and be okay with. What are your thoughts on like the whole combination between electronic and drum and bass kind of song? Like what did you think about that?
So we're going to talk about a movie real quick. Have you seen Straight Outta Compton?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
So NWA, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Right. So
I know the music. I just ain't seen the movie.
Well, it's gonna make it difficult. Anyway, Dr. Dre is always playing with his mix. Board?
Mixer?
Whatever. Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna go with Mixer.
We're gonna go with that. And that's some of these songs that he was creating. So from there, I was just like, oh, that's Vic, and I wish that was actually a thing. And now I know it's a thing, and I'm so excited. I'm like so stoked because I didn't actually listen to a lot of the mixes all the way through because I'm like, oh, that's wicked. Yeah. Save, and I'll go find another one. I'm like, oh, this is good too. Save. So I have like all these mixes saved to my playlist now, and I don't know about you guys, but I know I'm gonna send some over to Rusty G and be like, here's a new genre for you to play with. Thank you.
And that's the thing too, because Mischa says jungle is a subset of drum and bass music, and I feel like we have been so conditioned to listen to like, you know, the major genres, which I mean, that's because they're the most popular, right? That's kind of what you're used to, depending on where you are. But I thought it was interesting that it came out of the rave scene, because I don't think I've actually experienced a rave in Bermuda. Like I've seen it or heard of it, but I've never experienced that like culture here in Bermuda. So to hear Bermudians listening to it and actually vibing to it, was like, oh, this is interesting, that we should definitely include this in our repertoire of DJ music for the night. Like we don't just have to play the same reggae and dancehall, same hip hop and R&B. Like there is so much music out there. And I just think, what are your thoughts, audience? Do you think we should include different types of song in our nightlife experience? Because I feel like Bermuda's nightlife experience is this is my personal opinion, very one note. It's very pretty much the same no matter where you go. Like you can probably hear the same vibe, even though it's a different DJ, a different event. You kind of know what you're getting. So I just want to know, audience, do you think that our entertainment scene in Bermuda could use some additional sounds, some waking up, additional songs that would appeal to a different type of audience? Because I feel like that's also why we don't have the tourists that we may say we want, because we only have a specific type of Bermuda that we're promoting. Let us know. Let us know in the comments. What do you think,
Jack? We do, because in about like 2010, I And over, like, I did a week in Miami before I went to a competition. And I was like, let's go out. And one of the girls we were staying with, she's just like, okay, so we're going to listen to some music to get you guys ready for the clubs. And I'm just like, I had just turned 21. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And then she played, like techno, house music. And I was just like,
not the laugh.
We are getting drunk tonight because what? Like, this is what they're going to be playing all night. Like, I was used to it because I know the owner of Phase 1. And if anybody knows the owner of Phase 1, he drives around and all you hear is do, 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 do.
Fist pump.
And he used to pick me up because he's my cousin's boyfriend. So he used to pick me up and take me around. So he used to be my driver, like not my driver, but help me get my errands done. And that's what I listened to all the time. So I already knew that. But I wasn't expecting. I was like, so how do you dance to it?
You don't. You just feel the vibe. You just feel the vibe.
Right. So I was just like, okay. But that's like that's their genre in the States for the clubs that I went to, and those were the most popular ones. Like, we're going to the most popular clubs, and they were rammed, and I was just like, ooh, this is fun, but
people like
this. We don't play this in Bermuda, so why would they come? And like, I even have other friends that are just like, oh, I want to come. I'm like, okay, this is what we listen to, and they're just like, wait, so you don't listen to like club music? I'm like, this is club music. It's just not your usual club music.
It's not your club music. I want to read some comments in. So Sean Smith says, yes, I'm a music connoisseur. Sean, you have to let us know some other genres that you want us to do a deep dive in. Mischa obviously says, please definitely switch up the music. And Karen Simmons says, yes, we need it. I 100% agree with not only the audience, but Jacky's point. But I also feel like there is a skill to bringing it in. You just don't drop this music in the middle of the party. I feel like it could become early warm music. Not like as soon as you get there, but like, when you're getting ready to transition to your more popular songs, because we're not gonna like something we don't know. That's just plain and simple. Like, I don't care if you drop the newest Beyonce song in the club. If I don't know it, 9 times out of 10, we're not gonna vibe to it. So you have to, warm us up to it, get us used to it. And the best way to do that is during the early warm, because most people are just getting to the club. They're just, settling in, finding their friends, getting their first drink, all of that stuff, like setting their scene.
Liquid courage.
Setting their scene. And so if you're playing something that's new, and you don't have to play like, a good 30 minutes of it, play a good 5, 7, maybe 10 minutes. And then switch over to something that they know, or get real creative and do those refixes where you like put songs, lyrics that we know over songs that we don't know. Because if we know the words, we'll eventually like the beat. That's just how it is. Like, easily. That's just how it is.
Oh, this is a wicked remix. What is this? Yeah.
And I actually wanted to the child's name I don't remember on Twitter. It's like Alfonso or something like that. He was really popular during the Panorama for doing these refixes where he would like take the Rihanna vocals and put it over like a Biggie beat. And he was doing that, and he actually produced a song for Kehlani. I think it's like an R&B type song. But that type of stuff I feel like would help Bermuda's scene, because it, like you said, it allows us to like, get excited about something that is brand spanking new. We don't know what it is, but if it sounds nice, we can dance to it. We'll definitely give it a try. I'm going to bring in this comment from Anika Deshio. She says, I lived in Switzerland and the music was different. It took me a while to adjust. Techno everywhere. She says it's for people without rhythm. The techno music.
Sorry.
But it's like,
it's the emoji.
But it's like, when you really think about it, like I could probably see where they are dancing on rhythm, but the rhythm is not the rhythm that we think it is. Like, techno doesn't have the same rhythm.
There's so many different beats that as long as you catch one of them,
you're fine. Like, you be vibing like and then you look like that's not the beat that I'm on, but whatever. You're living your best life. I'm living my best life, and that's that on that. I want to get to this comment, 2 comments from Sean Smith before we take our next commercial break. Sean Smith says, love me some techno when cleaning the house. That's interesting because it definitely was just a running song for me. That was it. Could you see yourself cleaning to some techno?
No, I clean to R&B. I don't know. Maybe that's just.
I just
how
see.
I was raised.
And it's
But
old school too. It ain't that new R&B. It's gotta be like in
no,
the 90s and forward.
no, I'm listening to like Whitney. I'm listening to Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then so Sean
yeah.
Smith
Keith
says,
Sweat.
do we listen to neo soul? Yes, I do. Jackie?
Probably. I probably don't even realize I've listened
Like
to
it's
it.
like music soul child type song, I think.
Oh yes.
I think Sean Smith, you can let us
listened.
know what artists are considered neo soul artists, but I think it's like the music soul childs of the world.
Well then absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be back with our feel good vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. If you want to laugh to get your day started, make sure you stick around because Jackie's going to come with the corny jokes and I'm going to come with the cornier answers.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us today, we took a deep dive into jungle music, which is a derivative or it's a subgenre of drum and bass music. If you've never heard it, make sure you head over to Spotify, Apple Music, go to YouTube because that might be where you find most of the songs and have a listen to it. Jackie and I definitely recommend it for running around. Well, not running around the house, running in general. And Sean Smith says he uses it to clean the house. So, you know, you might find a new way to listen to jungle music and let us know in the comments when you do. If you haven't already, make sure you give us a reaction if you're watching over there on Facebook. To those of you on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And to all of our tweets over there on Twitter, make sure you run up those hearts and let us know in the comments what you thought of today's episode. Mischa says, yeah, techno is one of my go-tos for coding. Okay, yes, mine too. I definitely listen to some electronic study music. That's the name of my playlist. And so it's definitely a good kind of like zen because you don't really pay attention to the beat so much because there's no words for you to like kind of go along with, which is why I also liked it for running. Because when I run, I listen to music that I know the lyrics to, and then you get distracted. And then you're like, running too slow. And so
yeah, I have to listen to techno when I'm running. I had this one mix back in the day, but that was when I had an iPad.
Not an iPad while you're running.
An iPod. I'm like, what were they called again? An iPod. And I don't know what happened to it, but I don't know where it is. Anyway.
It ain't probably usable now anyway. How you gonna charge that D?
You're correct.
It's a nice paperweight though. It's probably small. If it was the like was the minis, like that was like probably a nice paperweight. No, I don't know about the other one. The other one's like really big. Anyway, we digress. Sean Smith says Nina Simone and Jill Scott. Yep. Okay, so
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're absolutely gonna do a deep dive in neo soul, primarily because I don't know, Jill Scott was she the one that went against someone on the Versus? I want to say
Erykah Badu, and they spent the whole time complimenting each other.
That was the best Versus ever. Okay, that's going to be our next deep dive. That's going to be our next deep dive, neo soul. So if you have any artists you want us to listen to, anything you want to know about neo soul, let Jackie and I know, and we will bring that deep dive to you in an upcoming episode of Good Day Bermuda. But for now, let's kick it over to Jackie with our feel good vibe of the day.
Okay.
She's already laughing. See, it's already a fail.
What does a sprinter eat before a race?
Pasta.
Nothing. They fast. Where do you learn to make a banana split?
The zoo with the monkeys.
Sunday school.
Sunday school.
Last one.
Okay.
What do you call a poor Santa Claus?
A poor Santa Claus is skinny, broke.
Saint Nicholas.
He ain't got no nickels.
Yes.
I live. As always, we hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the Day has you to make it a great one. Drop the emojis with your reactions to Jacky's jokes. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I am Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we do want to let you know that for tomorrow, Wednesday, September 22nd, until next week, Tuesday, September 28th, we will be sharing some replays of our favorite episodes so far in the year. So make sure if you missed anything, if you haven't watched any of them back, Jacky and I will be sharing them with you for the next 5 days. We will be hanging out with y'all in the comments. So if you have any questions for the guests that we probably didn't ask in the conversations, or if you want to learn more about from that particular episode, do engage with Jacky and I in the comments. And until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.